You know, most of my life, all I ever cared about was anything that was dark and creepy and metal music. But you know what? Recently, I have felt the need for something a little bit more different. After that, uh, that is when I started to learn how to do screaming and gutturals properly, and it actually really paid off because I already knew how to do the vocal singing. So I just ended up using a lot of that knowledge and how to do the gutturals and the metal screaming. Um, um, the person that I kind of like took lessons from, he puts out courses and stuff like that. His name was Justin Bonnets, and he's part of a group called Tella or Tala. Really good if you're into the more screamy. So that's basically where that puts me in terms of my musical journey. As for now, I haven't really been able to do a whole lot since then, just because most of my time goes to working and getting back to school and doing YouTube. So that's that question asked. Well, this is a little bit different. The other day, I was having some troubles with my internet and getting things uploaded, and with YouTube blocking a lot of my stuff. So I decided I was just going to ask for some questions, and then I'd just do a Q&A. So we're just going to hop right into it. First off, the first question is that somebody says, I love that you are respectful and express appreciation for all groups and artists you have been reacting to. Appreciating talent, music, production, or composition, enjoying a music or a song or an MV, and actively listening to a song for your own enjoyment are two things. So, yes, I think I think the interesting thing is that I definitely just try and be as positive as I can, just because you know nobody wants to come on here and just be like, well, this. So, but you've reacted to a lot of different artists, and I think it's unrealistic if anyone thinks that you listen to every song you express enjoyment in during your reactions. That is true. There's a lot of songs that I listen to, and not all of them kind of like make the cut. So here's the question. So my question are, which artists, generally or otherwise, individual songs, as some artists you have only heard one or two songs from, do you listen to in your own time since you've reacted? Um, Also, are there particular songs that you listen to that surprised you and grew on you a lot more than you expected since your reaction? Yes, so there was a couple of them, and for me, I generally listening to anything outside of metal, a lot of times or like punk, is generally just kind of like a surprise anyway. But right now, I think probably one song that just immediately has always been on my brain ever since I heard it was Halazia from ATEEZ, I believe is who's saying that, and I love that song. As for others, I do listen to a lot of Dreamcatcher now. I put them on fairly regularly into my mixes as well. One song that I heard that at first I was kind of like meh, but it kind of really grew on me, and sadly the video got blocked, so I'll probably try and do a Google Drive for that, and that is Itzy's new song Ringo. I actually ended up really growing into that song a lot. I really like that song. Fun times. I really actually ended up liking that video too, sadly enough. Next question. I'd like to know more about your musical background and history. Yes, so this has always been like the nebulous thing about the channel, right? What is the musical background that I have? So basically, this might be a little bit lengthy. So I've always been into doing like choir, bass, and doing just kind of like music as much as I can. For me personally, that started probably when I was even around like 8 years old. When I hit 13, I started taking piano lessons, and I got pretty good because at one point I could basically put anything down in front of me, and I could play it unless it was like a really crazy song like Fantasy Impromptu by Chopin. Um, but just about anything from Mozart, aside from that really crazy Moonlight Sonata, I could pretty much play. Aside from that, I would say about a year or two into my, not a year or two, it's probably about 2 years into my piano lessons. My teacher got married and moved out of state, so that put an end to it. After that, I kind of just ended up doing a lot of like vocal training, not really professionally, but I wanted to sound like a lot of the artists that I listened to. So I started singing. Um, that's around the time that like I wanted to be like, I wanted to be able to sound like Rammstein and Aerosmith, and also like Cradle and some of the other people like Suicide Silence and stuff like that. But nothing ever came of it. I did have a couple of bands, and we never really did more outside of just like a couple uh, songs that we covered, and maybe played like a small little thing here or there for like friends, but never really anything past that. When I hit about 16, 17 years old, I got into ballroom. And when I got into ballroom, that was probably my favorite time of my life. Honestly, it was what I wanted to be after I found it. I did that for a couple of years. I even got into college because of it, and I danced for my university. And but about a year into after I got into it, I got into a horrific car wreck. And actually, I'm going to point this out. If you ever notice in some of the videos, if suddenly you see like this weird like hole right here, there's no bone over my eye anymore. I had an orbital fracture that couldn't be repaired. I had a skull fracture. I tore my rotator cuff. I broke all my ribs. I crushed like my forearm and my fingers and my wrists, and it cut me open from my elbow down to my chest, down to the bone. So it was rough. I had to go into retirement from ballroom after that. So after that, I was really kind of like depressed about it, because for like a year I couldn't lift anything over like 10 pounds. So after I recovered enough, I actually went and did some humanitarian work, and that's where aprendí a hablar español en Chile, y este país es buenísima. Igualmente, that's where I learned Spanish, and that's where I learned how to play guitar. Someone that I knew there was a very good guitarist. He had a very expensive guitar and taught me all the chords, and I just kind of just flourished from there. When I got back, I started taking actual vocal lessons, and my vocal teacher is pretty prolific. We took lessons for quite some time, and after we took so many lessons, he ended up getting picked up by his old theater troupe, and they started to tour Europe. Apparently, their rendition of Aida was so popular that there was actually countries inside of Europe that were paying him to come and perform. So he did that, and I was out on a teacher again, and that's kind of when I stopped taking my vocal lessons in terms of like opera and stage. So that was kind of not fun either. After that, that is when I started to learn how to do screaming and gutturals properly, and it actually really paid off because I already knew how to do the vocal singing. So I just ended up using a lot of that knowledge and how to do the gutturals and the metal screaming. The person that I kind of like took lessons from, he puts out courses and stuff like that. His name was Justin Bonnets, and he's part of a group called Tella or Tala. Really good if you're into the more screamy. So that's basically where that puts me in terms of my musical journey. As for now, I haven't really been able to do a whole lot since then, just because most of my time goes to working and getting back to school and doing YouTube. So that's that question asked. The next question is, are the same as below? You've mentioned singing bass and choir, singing in power metal. Yes, I usually modeled my voice after the original singer of Dragon Force and Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. So do I have a band? I used to, not anymore. I had a couple, but it never went anywhere. We did try to do Battle of the Bands. They told us that our music wasn't suitable for the situation, so it is what it is. Have I ever performed professionally? Yes, as a ballroom dancer. There was actually a couple times that I did perform professionally for quite a few large groups, including at one point some of the most popular ballroom dancers / judges for a very popular TV show here in the United States. So yeah, let's see. Next, have you just performed professionally or just for fun? Would you show us show us or play for us some performances? I don't have anything recorded. All that I have generally over, or when it comes to performances, is so old now that I might have some DVDs of ballroom, but I don't really have anything aside from that. I'd have to go find it. But I do have a picture. This was a picture of me and my ex at the time when we were also ballroom partners. Can't really get that to focus very well. I'll post a picture of it. Screw it. Anyway, so yeah, aside from that, the question goes, do you ever plan on reacting to other genres? And what are some of your plans or dreams for the channel? I'm going to probably stick mainly to Korean, just because I've even had a couple of people who have told me, like, oh man, this isn't working, I'm going to switch niches or switch genres or something like that. And as soon as I do, all the people that were subscribed to him stop watching because they came for a certain thing. And it's not that I really don't want to, or I don't feel like that I can, but I have an expectation, and you have an expectation of me of what it would be. So I don't want to let you all down. So there might be some meddling here or there. I've actually thought about doing like Metal Monday and kind of doing that, but instead I just started turning that into shorts and recommending groups so you can check it out for yourself. What are the plans and dreams? So I actually have some tiers, and I'll kind of read these off really quick. Basically, it comes in about 4 tiers. There's one stretch goal that I have. The first one, I'm going to be completely transparent here, is to get a large enough base of faithful viewers to sustain the channel. Second was to gain as much knowledge as I can and start implementing stuff like the reality shows and like variety shows, and just kind of learning and soaking up all that I can about the genre so that I can be adequately prepared. The third one was start reaching out to retired idols and smaller, less heard groups to see if perhaps if there's any way that we could like do interviews or have them even like make comments or come on or do special like something or other. I've actually thought about how cool it would be if we could actually do something for like lesser known groups that don't get as many views. In fact, I actually found a group a little while ago. They were unfortunately terminated, but I think they were called like G Kind, and they only had like 70,000 albums ever sold. So I thought like that'd be cool to get like those people on to talk about like what it's like to be an idol, go through the process, get picked, debut, stuff like that, and even like talk to some retired ones as well to kind of see and see what we can get. And then eventually I kind of want to turn it into like when a group comes to the United States, that it's almost like if you're going to be coming to the States where I live, that this would be like a mandatory thing to like introduce yourself to the Western audience, is to come through on the show and just have like fun and kind of do like my own variety show and have like some food and some skits and stuff like that. That's probably the dream is to get it to that point, be able to do interviews, and like I said, I want to be able to actually talk to them, and not just about their music, but they themselves, and just kind of have those intimate moments where we can kind of break down like how they felt when they're going through some of their hardest times and stuff like that. If they want, obviously, I'm not going to force anything if they even come on at all. The next part of the tier, this is kind of a stretch goal if we get big enough. Since I basically live out in the middle of nowhere, and the goal is to actually at some point be able to afford to build basically a facility or like a resort that idols that are feeling overwhelmed, overstressed, overworked can like come here, and if they want to turn off like social media, let them come here. Nobody's gonna recognize them, nobody knows who anybody would be, so they could walk around and kind of feel like normal human beings and be able to like shop and go to restaurants and go to hot tubs and have some fun, just to get away from the idol life. That would be the ultimate stretch goal. So that's that question answered, I think, as best as I can sum it up. The next question: have has this YouTube journey changed your taste in music? Has it made you more aware of what you like and dislike? Yes. So my general concern is that pop to me was always really bland, especially Western pop. Um, there's a lot of people who talk about being like you know, the boss, and like they're so cool, and all their stuff is so braggadocious. I actually didn't really like a lot of it, and most of the music here was so samey that I just didn't really like it. And the other thing is too is when anything came across as cutesy, absolutely just was not my theme. It's so hard to it was so hard for me to even just like be able to stomach it. Most of the time it actually would make me leave my room or whatever room it was that was playing the music. If it was in the mall, if it was whatever. But aside from that, I have actually learned to be able to appreciate stuff like that, and I find that really crazy because like had I watched, for example, the very first title track that was like a hit for SNSD would have not flown even a year ago. Like even when I first started this channel, I probably would have watched that. I would have been like, "This is awful." But I have learned that there's more to it than just it being a cutesy theme. The next thing is yes, it does actually help me learn how to like, kind of to be able to define what I like and dislike. And it's a kind of interestingly enough because I'll use this as an example. There is a jazz group that I got into that I'm even more so now really really into that. I was kind of starting to get into it, but honestly because of like all the R&B and jazz stuff that we actually hear from a lot of like solo artists here, I started to go back into listening to this group that does, I would say, like dark brooding jazz. Their name is Borin and their Club of Gore, and their album that's called Sunset Mission is one of the best albums out there ever. I'm not even gonna dispute that. It's so good, and now that I've gone back with the tolerance that I've been able to learn and kind of like know what I like in music, what I dislike in music, from expanding it, I have gone back and just absolutely just that's a dream to me now. Love that. But also because of that, I have learned to dislike some stuff, and it is a lot more apparent. For example, I'll be straight up with you, like 90s R&B and early 2000s R&B, I still just have a really hard time. Like Boyz II Men and like early Mariah Carey and J-Lo is just, no, I can't do it. So but it is what it is. I can't like everything, sadly enough, as much as I try. The last thing is, hey, not a question, but I just wanted to say that I really enjoy your BTS Saturdays, and rewatching those videos is always the best. And I'm glad that you brought this up because this is something to me that I hold dear. In fact, I haven't even done the video yet. I have a lot of it planned out and how I want to do it. But I mentioned a little while ago that I bought my first piece of merch. This is a part of the tribute, which is actually the merch. It's actually this bracelet that stretches out, and as you can see, it's purple, and it's got like these little jewels in them. Really cool. I want to wear this for whenever you decide to watch a video, and you see this. I just know that I kind of want to use this as like a sign of hope and positivity, and being able to, like, when you see this, you can just be like, be positive, kind of thing. So that's something about the BTS Saturdays that I really liked, is just the overall message. And I think the symbiotic relationship that comes with people that have seen it and me who's never seen it. I mean, this is scratching the surface kind of stuff, even though we've done quite a bit, is still scratching the surface. So it's fun for you to be able to relive your experiences through my abilities to go through it for the first time. And I absolutely appreciate it. And I try to respond to all those comments. I'm still working on it. I apologize again. But yes, that is actually one of my favorite things about this channel overall is just for those of you who have experienced it, being able to relive it, and if I can be that conduit, it's so special. it's so special. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got right now. So if you want to see these dreams, come to fruition, please like and subscribe, because it takes a lot to be able to get any of these companies or groups or labels' attention. So if you want to, in a sense, help me provide a better world for idols and an easier way for them to get into the States or anything outside of, into the Western hemisphere of music, that is the goal. And I would be more appreciative than ever if, we can make this happening, be able to give them some ability to have some fun, some interaction, some places to even be able to get away and relax too. So yeah, just, it's gonna be a fun ride, and I hope that y'all continue to support me just for those possibilities. Anyway, thank you, and we'll see you for the next video.